Hey everyone, I'm HarvestBuildDestroy, and in this video I'm going to go full Spirit of the Law and take an in-depth look at the Persian team bonus in Age of Empires 2. Anyone who follows competitive AoE2 will know that up until the recent patch, Persians were one of, if not the most meta-civ on basically all but pure water maps. It remains to be seen how much this will change as a result of the patch, but I imagine they will continue to be a strong civ, particularly on hybrid maps. But how good is their team bonus? +2 attack versus archer class units for knights. Like any team bonus, it's obviously going to be more impactful in a team game where it may affect up to 4 players, but does it change much of anything in a 1v1? The main question here is, in what situations does this 2 extra damage allow your Knightline units to kill archer class units in fewer hits? As I see it, the bonus seems to be more significant in the Castle Age than in Post-Imperial, and often, though not without exception, more significant for cavaliers than paladins, whether they're yours or an ally's in a team game. But before I go into it in more depth, let's talk a bit about why the Persians are such a strong civ in the first place. It's simple, really. The Persians' 2 civilization bonuses are both strong early economic boosts that are useful on any type of map. The town center work rate bonus means that your villagers come out a bit faster, in addition to allowing you to age up and get wheelbarrow and handcart faster. Post-patch, this obviously isn't as impactful as it was when it started in the Dark Age, but it's still pretty good. Before the change, you could get an extra villager out and still hit feudal at around the same time as your opponent. Nonetheless, the bonus starting food and wood is still a solid Dark Age bonus, which makes it easier for you to go up at 20 or 21 pop and start taking advantage of the TC bonus as early as possible, particularly if you're going scouts. On water, and especially hybrid maps, the extra starting wood lets you get your dock up that much sooner. In feudal, with your dock work rate bonus, you can squeeze out more fire galleys in the same amount of time and win the water. If the water battle isn't going so well, you can stockpile rather more ships in your double HP docks than other civs before ungarrisoning. Even if you do lose the water, your triple TC boom in Castle Age is very strong with 15% faster villager production, and mangonel pushes aren't anywhere near as much of a threat to your double HP town centers on water or land maps. Though obviously great for booming off of multiple TCs, the TC work rate bonus also puts you less behind economically if you go aggressive with a 1 TC push and helps you get to Imperial that much faster. Tech tree wise, with access to bloodlines, thumb ring, and camels, you can just as easily go stable as archery range and castle. In Imperial, you have hand cannoniers, bombard cannons, siege ram, and fully upgraded halberdiers, in addition to being the only civ in the game with a full Conqueror's Era stable. Persians are also very strong in low gold situations, with trash bows, siege rams, fully upgraded hussars and halbs, as well as all econ upgrades and guilds. However, the lack of bracer hurts your skirmishers, and you don't even get two-handed swordsmen, let alone champions. This lack of bracer particularly hurts on water maps, which are probably where Persians are weakest, but you can always just veto Islands, which is currently the only pure water map in the 1v1 pool. For team games, now that Team Islands is out of the pool, Persians are a solid pick on pretty much any remaining map. They're closer to average on closed land maps like Black Forest or even arguably Arena, but unless you get a pure water version of Mega Random, you should be fine. But how much does their team bonus contribute to any of this, either in 1v1 or team games? As I mentioned before, it's probably most significant in the Castle Age. The main reason for this is that as long as your attack upgrades keep up with your opponent's armor upgrades, Persian knights kill crossbows in 3 rather than 4 hits. Crossbows have 35 health, and Persian knights do 12 damage to them with even upgrades. Just to be clear, throughout this video, whenever I say even upgrades, I mean that you have the same level of cavalry attack upgrades as your opponent does archer armor. Also, with DE melee pathing being what it is, I'm not necessarily recommending that you make knights versus crossbows, but I'm going to give you all the numbers for Persian knights versus archer class units in this video, and you can do what you will with them. Anyway, 3 times 12 is 36 damage, which is enough to kill a crossbow, while a normal knight will do 3 times 10 equals 30 damage, leaving the crossbow with 5 HP and requiring a 4th attack to kill it. The only exceptions to this are Vietnamese crossbows, which have more health, and Italian crossbows, which have access to an extra armor upgrade. But realistically, in the latter case, your opponent is more likely to opt for Genoese crossbowmen if they already have a castle and you're going knights. But more on unique units later. Similarly, if your opponent has 1 more armor upgrade than you do attack, your Persian knights will only do 11 damage per hit, which will leave a crossbowman with 2 HP left after 3 attacks. Generic Civilizations knights can only 3-shot crossbows if they have a 2 upgrade lead. That is, when they have iron casting before their opponents have padded archer armor. Since padded archer armor is only 100 food, this scenario is unlikely to happen unless you're the Magyars who get iron casting for free. And even then, it's probably only going to happen for a brief window of time if you're lucky. As an aside, if you ever happen to be going crossbows against a Magyars player going knights, you might want to consider padded archer armor a higher priority than normal for this reason. Anyway, the situation is exactly the same for Persian knights versus elite skirmishers and longbowmen in the Castle Age, since they have the same amount of health and melee armor as crossbows. That is, 35 and 0 respectively. In the Imperial Age, the bonus does help cavaliers versus arbalests and elite longbowmen, but not paladins, at least not in a vacuum. Both arbalests and elite longbowmen have 40 HP and no melee armor, so the key number here is 14 damage, which is the minimum required to 3-shot them. Normal cavaliers do 16 damage with Blast Furnace, so if we subtract the arbalest or longbowman's possible 3 melee armor, we get 13, which leaves them alive with 1 HP after 3 attacks. This means that generic post-Imperial cavaliers can only 3-shot arbalests that don't get the final armor upgrade. Persian cavaliers, on the other hand, at 15 damage per attack, will always 3-shot arbalests with ring archer armor, unless they happen to be Vietnamese arbalests, which have 48 HP. Unlike other Civs cavaliers, they can also 3-shot Italian arbalests, even with their extra armor unique tech. Persian paladins can 3-shot Vietnamese arbalests, while generic ones can't, and any paladin can 3-shot Italian arbalests as long as they have Blast Furnace. But versus generic arbalests or elite longbowmen, Persian paladins don't have any advantage over regular paladins on their own. It is worth mentioning here that just because a unit isn't killed in fewer hits doesn't mean that the bonus doesn't give you some advantage in the chaos of a full battle where all sorts of different units may be attacking each other at the same time. Leaving a unit with slightly lower HP can still give other units with less attack the ability to finish it off more quickly than they otherwise would have, so it's possible that in many more complex situations, the bonus could be doing more than we can really talk about here by just looking at how many hits it takes to kill different units. I imagine that this sort of effect is probably fairly significant in team games on closed land maps like Arena or Black Forest when you reach the full trade post-imp meat grinder stage of the game. There's also both the positive and negative hill bonuses to consider, but there are already so many numbers in this video that I'm not going to go into those here. If you really want another video on that topic, leave a comment below or upvote someone else's, and maybe I'll consider it. Anyway, with all this in mind, in a vacuum, the +2 attack bonus doesn't help Persian Paladins as often versus many of the affected units the way it does Persian Knights and Cavaliers, because it usually doesn't quite tip the Paladin over the edge of being able to kill things in fewer hits. Before accounting for armor, a fully upgraded Persian Paladin will do 20 damage to Archer class units versus a normal Paladin's 18. If we subtract the 3 possible melee armor from Blacksmith upgrades, we get 17. This doesn't allow Persian Paladins to 2-shot anything that either Persian Cavaliers or generic Paladins can only 3-shot. However, it does allow them to 2-shot skirmishers that don't get the final armor upgrade, but since skirmishers aren't exactly a threat to paladins anyway, how useful this will be will depend on what this could allow your other units to get done. For example, being able to neutralize skirms that much more easily could benefit your trash bows or hand cannoneers in some situations. If you happen to have a Lithuanian ally with relics in a team game, it is possible for their paladins to 2-shot skirms with ring archer armor. The same goes for Malian cavaliers with Farimba. With 4 relics, your Lithuanian allies' paladins can also 2-shot Vietnamese Imperial skirms with their 42 HP. Non-Vietnamese Imperial skirms are the same as elite skirms, since they have the same HP and armor. Lithuanian paladins can also 2-shot standard arbalests with ring archer armor if they have 3 relics in a Persian ally, while Farimba cavaliers cannot. 48 HP Vietnamese arbalests are a 3-shot for all Blast Furnace paladins with the bonus, and 4 without, unless you're Lithuanians with 2 or more relics, in which case it's 3 as well. Farimba cavaliers also get the 3-shot, even without a Persian's ally, although being down 40 HP and 1 pierce armor probably isn't worth the trade-off. The bonus only affects cavaliers versus hand cannoneers prior to Blast Furnace, and doesn't affect paladins versus hand cannoneers at all. With Blast Furnace, all cavaliers 3-shot hand cannoneers, but Persian cavaliers do so with just iron casting. Beyond this, in a 1v1, there's no effect aside from perhaps allowing your trash bows and skirms to finish them off more easily, and if that's your composition, you shouldn't be afraid of them anyway. Since the bonus doesn't allow paladins to 2-shot them, there isn't any effect for them at all in a vacuum. There is one exception, however. Turkish hand cannoneers have 44 HP, which fully upgraded Persian paladins can 3-shot, but generic ones can't. Farimba cavaliers and Lithuanian paladins with 1 relic can also get the 3-shot without the bonus. That's it for the Persians themselves, but while we're at it, there are a couple of other exceptions for allies in team games. With the bonus, Farimba cavaliers can 2-shot Frankish hand cannoneers who don't get the final armor upgrade, but only Lithuanians with relics can 2-shot hand cannoneers with ring archer armor, and with 4 relics they can do this without the Persian bonus. Aside from that, the bonus does allow civilizations who lack Blast Furnace to 3-shot hand cannoneers with their cavaliers, but this is a pretty fringe scenario. Of the 4 civs lacking Blast Furnace, perhaps only the Vietnamese truly benefit from this, since they get the final armor upgrade as well as bloodlines. Malians and Byzantines get Farimba and Paladin respectively, so this benefit is temporary for them, and as Koreans, you don't really want to make Knightline units in the Imperial Age since they lack bloodlines and both Imperial Blacksmith upgrades. Anyway, back to the Castle Age and onto other units. Persian Knights also kill Castle Age cavalry archers with bloodlines in 1 fewer hit than normal civilizations Knights, 6 rather than 7 with even upgrades. On the other hand, if you happen to be fighting cavalry archers with no bloodlines, there's no effect unless you have 1 more attack upgrade than they do armor. This is probably only significant for a Magyar's ally in a team game. The difference in this case is 5 versus 4 hits. The bonus also makes it impossible for Persian knights to 6-shot bloodlineless cavalry archers, even if you're at a 2-upgrade deficit, which is possible for other Civs knights, although that's a pretty uncommon scenario. Like with crossbows, this isn't necessarily to say that you should ever intentionally go knights versus cav archers with DE's melee pathing, but you do at least have a softer landing if you're up against an unexpected switch. In the Imperial Age, both for cavaliers and paladins, the bonus lets you kill heavy cav archers in 1 fewer hit than generic cavaliers or paladins. This is true both if the heavy cav archers are fully upgraded and if they're missing either Parthian tactics or ring archer armor. Perhaps most notably, with Blast Furnace, Persian paladins can 5-shot Hun heavy cavalry archers, while generic ones only get the 6-shot. Next, let's look at how the archer class unique units are affected by the bonus. First up, Genitours are exactly the same as cav archers, since they have the same health and armor. Similarly, Castle Age plumed archers are the same as cav archers without bloodlines, since they too have 50 HP and no melee armor, meaning that the bonus only makes a difference when you have an upgrade advantage. At even upgrades, your knights will 5-shot plumed archers like any other civ, but with a 1-upgrade lead, you will get the 4-shot. In a Persians vs. Mainz game, which is common enough these days, you might want to keep tabs on your opponent's armor upgrades and use this to your advantage if you're going stable. In the Imperial Age, the bonus affects your cavaliers and paladins. It takes 13 damage to 5-shot an elite plumed archer, and normal cavaliers will only do 12 with +2 attack if the Mainz player has +2 armor. With full upgrades on both sides, the extra 2 damage Blast Furnace gives will lead to a 5-shot for normal cavaliers, but Persians can already do that with just iron casting. Persian paladins with Blast Furnace, on the other hand, can 4-shot elite plumed archers, which generic paladins cannot. The bonus also helps with Chukonu. In the Castle Age, Persian knights always 4-shot Chukonu with even upgrades, while other Civs knights will always 5-shot them unless you have a 2-upgrade lead, which is unlikely unless you happen to be Magyars, and if so, only for a brief period of time. In Imperial, your cavaliers will always 4-shot elite Chukonu, even with just iron casting, while normal cavaliers will 5-shot them before Blast Furnace, assuming your opponent has +2 armor. By the time you get to fully upgraded paladins, you will be able to 3-shot elite Chukonu, while normal paladins will still only be able to 4-shot them. Castle Age Janissaries are similar to Chukonu, but it's significant that they have 44 rather than 45 health after the Turk's gunpowder HP bonus. This means you can 4-shot them if you can do 11 damage per hit, which you do with even upgrades since you do 12 base damage with the bonus and Janissaries have 1 melee armor. However, the issue is that since Janissaries don't get attack upgrades, your opponent will usually already have +2 armor by the time they're using them, so you might actually want to consider iron casting a higher priority than usual versus Janissaries. But also due to Janissaries not getting attack upgrades, each armor upgrade you get allows your knights to survive 1 additional hit from them, with 1 exception. Without bloodlines, +1 armor means your knights die after 8 rather than 7 hits, while +2 armor doesn't increase that number without bloodlines. With bloodlines, it takes 8 for a Janissary to kill a Persian knight without armor upgrades, 9 with +1 armor, and 10 with +2. The difference between 4 and 5 shotting a unit is more significant than the difference between 7 and 8, 8 and 9, or 9 and 10 shotting it, so you could argue that perhaps +2 attack could take priority over +2 armor if you're going pure knights versus pure Janissaries, but I think I'd rather just make skirms. In Imperial, your cavaliers 4-shot elite Janissaries with full upgrades, while generic cavaliers 5-shot them. However, your paladins don't have any advantage over regular ones, which also 4-shot them. Genoese crossbowmen are almost the same as Janissaries in the Castle Age because they also have 1 melee armor, but that 1 pesky extra HP they have makes it so that you need an upgrade advantage to 4-shot them. However, the Persian bonus does make it so that you can still 5-shot them even at a 2-upgrade deficit. This is especially significant considering that Italians have access to an extra armor upgrade in the Castle Age, so they actually can get a 3-upgrade advantage on you if you don't have forging. You obviously shouldn't be fighting Genoese crossbowmen with knights, but Persian knights do fare better than other civs knights, as with just forging, you'll always 5 rather than 6-shot them, even if they have all 3 armor upgrades. In Imperial Age, it's the same deal as with elite Janissaries. Your cavaliers can 4-shot elite Genoese crossbowmen, while generic cavaliers only get the 5-shot. Paladins, on the other hand, always get the 4-shot with or without the bonus. Again, terrible idea to actually fight Genoese crossbowmen with knight line units, but at least in a large-scale team fight, the bonus might actually end up helping. The bonus only sort of affects slingers and Castle Age rattan archers, in that it's impossible not to 4-shot them with Persian knights in the Castle Age, while other civs will 5-shot them if their attack upgrades are behind their opponent's armor upgrades, with the exception of Magyars, since this isn't possible with free iron casting. If you end up getting +2 attack on your Persian knights before your opponent gets +1 armor, you can 3-shot them, but this is unlikely to happen in practice. In Imperial, slingers and elite rattan archers are almost the same despite the difference in HP. Your cavaliers can 3-shot both of them with full upgrades, while generic cavaliers only get the 4-shot. Generic paladins also get the 3-shot, so the bonus doesn't affect paladins in this case. However, lacking Blast Furnace, Byzantine paladins normally can't 3-shot elite rattan archers or fully upgraded slingers, but can with a Persian ally. Castle Age man you die with bloodlines die in 7 hits to a Persian knight with equal upgrades and 8 hits to a regular knight. Without bloodlines, those numbers are 5 and 6 respectively. Although facing Manu Dai without bloodlines isn't very common, at least not for more than a couple minutes in early castle, the bonus does offer a clear advantage to Persian knights when fighting them, unlike fighting cavalry archers without bloodlines. Again, DE being DE, that's not to say that you should be fighting them with knights, as with any fast-moving ranged unit. Castle Age Arambai have the same health and armor as Manu Dai, so all this goes for them too, except that they only get one armor upgrade, so iron casting doesn't matter versus them in Castle. Castle Age Camel Archers are the same as Manu Dai as well, despite having 5 fewer hit points. In the Imperial Age, Elite Manu Dai are the same as Heavy Cav Archers with no Ring Archer armor, since they have the same defense stats and Mongols don't get Ring Archer armor. Persian Cavaliers and Paladins kill them in 1 fewer hit than generic ones. That is, 6 versus 7 for Cavaliers, and 5 versus 6 for Paladins. Elite Camel Archers also have the same health and armor and don't get Parthian tactics, so this is true for them too. As for Elite Arambai, the bonus affects Cavaliers but not Paladins. Normal Cavaliers get the 6-shot, while Persian Cavaliers get the 5-shot, just like both generic and Persian Paladins. Hypothetically, you do kill Mamelukes in 1 fewer hit than other civs, but you obviously never want to piss your gold away fighting Mamelukes with Knightline units. Castle Age War Wagons die in 15 hits to a generic knight and 13 hits to a Persian knight with even upgrades, and that number decreases by 1 for each upgrade if you have the upgrade advantage. In Imperial, the bonus still allows you to kill elite War Wagons in 2 fewer hits, but the specific numbers are different. If you and your opponent have +2 attack and +2 armor respectively, generic Cavaliers kill elite War Wagons in 17 hits, while Persian Cavaliers kill them in 15. With +3 attack and armor, it's 16 and 14 respectively. Fully upgraded generic Paladins also kill elite War Wagons in 14 hits, while Persian Paladins kill them in 12. Alright, last but not least, the most complicated unit, the Conquistador. I say this because the Conquistador has access to bloodlines and doesn't get attack upgrades. This means you're often going to be at an upgrade deficit, since the Spanish player is usually going to have the armor upgrades before you have attack, so the deficit numbers are more significant here. The Persian bonus is actually quite significant against Conks, although you obviously don't want to mass knights against them if you can avoid it. Whether you're against them with or without bloodlines, Castle Age Persian knights kill Conks in 3 fewer hits than normal knights at a 2 upgrade deficit, which you may very well have. With bloodlines, generic knights kill Conks in 10 hits, and Persian knights kill them in 8 with even upgrades. At a 1 upgrade deficit, those numbers are 11 and 9, and at a 2 upgrade deficit, 13 and 10. Without bloodlines, it's 7 and 6 with even upgrades, 8 and 7 with a 1 upgrade deficit, and 10 and 7 with a 2 upgrade deficit. These numbers probably don't mean much in a 1v1, where you're obviously not going to want to go knights against Conks, but like with many of these units, in team games, the bonus could end up being significant in team fights. In Imperial, if they get Ring Archer armor before you get Blast Furnace, generic Cavaliers kill Conks in 10 hits, while Persian Cavaliers kill them in 9. After Blast Furnace, the numbers are 9 and 7 respectively. For Paladins with full upgrades, the numbers go down to 7 and 6. And in case you were wondering, yes, a Lithuanians player with 4 relics can indeed get the 5-shot. Alright, so that's every unit affected by the bonus, and at least the majority of possible upgrade situations. So how good is it? Ultimately, you're better off asking someone like Viper or Hera in their stream chat, but I feel fairly confident saying that it's a pretty solid team bonus for 4v4 Arabia at any rate, where you may have up to 4 players going knights at various stages of the game versus a much wider variety of archer class units. In 1v1s, I suppose the strongest effect is just the ability to 3-shot Castle Age crossbows with knights, which makes knights a bigger threat in the Castle Age, especially if DE's melee unit pathing improves in the future. The fact that your Cavaliers can 3-shot arbalests before Blast Furnace seems pretty useful in early Imperial too. Although Paladin isn't often a good investment in 1v1s, their ability to 2-shot the skirms of civs that don't get Ring Archer armor could occasionally be significant too. In particular, I'm thinking about Aztecs and Mongols, both of which are common picks that also don't get Halberdiers. I suppose Mongols do get camels, but any gold spent on them is gold not spent on Manu Dai, and lacking the final armor upgrade, their camels aren't a huge threat to your trash bows or fully upgraded halbs anyway. But that's all for this video. Hopefully you found some of these numbers useful, or at least interesting. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe, hit the bell, and all that. See you soon.